Alistair Black is on his way back to WWE. It was recently reported that the former Malachi Black in All Elite Wrestling was leaving the company after his contract had expired, with it expected that he would be imminently returning to the company, where he's probably most famous for being the NXT champion under the stewardship of Paul Levesque during the brand's black and gold era. Now, Friday night on SmackDown, we saw the first vignette possibly marking the beginning steps for Black to return to the WWE main roster. But now that Black is going to be back in WWE for the first time in close to 4 years, just who is he going to face off against? Well, let's count down some possible opponents for the former NXT champion. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of stories to get into, and today we're going to be counting down some possible opponents for Aleister Black, the former Malachi Black in All Elite Wrestling, former AEW World Trios champion, former NXT champion in WWE, is seemingly on his way back to the company that he left back in 2021. Of course, Aleister Black in WWE is perhaps best known for his work on the NXT brand. He's a former NXT champion back when Triple H was in control of WWE's developmental brand, and many had high hopes for him on the main roster after the success that he saw on the black and gold brand, but it wasn't replicated. There was a lot of stop and start pushes. Vince McMahon wasn't much of a fan. Certainly Paul Heyman was. Certainly Paul Levesque was. Not Vince. And that led to him ultimately being released in 2021. There, he went very quickly to AEW. He only had a 30-day non-compete clause because he's still under an NXT contract. And that led to a quick debut on AEW television. But it never really worked out. And once Triple H took control of WWE Creative, there were already reports that Black was eyeing up a return to WWE. And now in 2025, it looks like that's going to happen after his contract with Tony Khan's promotion has expired. So, who could he possibly be set to face off against? Here's some opponents that possibly Black could face off against inside of a WWE squared circle. Let's begin with CM Punk. Now, this one is really interesting, of course, because when CM Punk was over in AEW during the sort of second half, shall we say, of his spell, after the injury, after Brawlout, CM Punk was a Collision guy. In fact, he was really an executive producer, executive vice president figure for AEW Collision. He was really in charge of that creative for that show alongside Tony Khan. He was in charge of who he wanted to be featured on that brand. If reports are accurate, the suggestion is that Warner Brothers Discovery gave that show to AEW because of CM Punk's presence on it, and it was actually going to be built around the former AEW World Champion. Now, one of the names straight away that CM Punk wanted on that show was the House of Black. And we saw the House of Black featured quite a lot on AEW Collision. And seemingly, maybe, that because of CM Punk, and that's because of his friendship maybe with Brody King, who we know are very close friends with Punk, and Malachi Black. And we never really got to see Black versus CM Punk in a lengthy feud or anything like that in All Elite Wrestling. We didn't really get to see much of Black doing singles matches in AEW, really, did we? But we could see that in WWE. Black, what will he be coming back as? Will he be coming back as a heel, which he played for the entirety of his time in AEW, or the majority of his time anyway, in AEW? Will he be coming back as a babyface, which he played for a long time in NXT and initially on the main roster? Or will he be coming back as the heel that he was playing towards the end of his WWE career back in 2020 to 2021? If he's playing a heel, certainly a feud against CM Punk would be something very, very interesting, and the matches would be pretty good, and both are very familiar with each other. There wouldn't be any issues with them working with each other, so that could be a strong opponent for Malachi Black to face off against the former WWE champion. What he's going to be doing coming out of WrestleMania remains to be seen. It's likely he's going to be facing off against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and there are still plenty of names on the WWE roster that Punk has never faced off against before, but a Malachi Black / Aleister Black feud with CM Punk could be pretty interesting television. What about Roman Reigns? Now, who Roman Reigns faces off against nowadays is pretty rare company. He doesn't have a full-time schedule anymore, but the OTC is kind of moving away from doing bloodline-related drama, isn't he? For the past 3 years, and longer actually than that, past 5 years, we've seen Roman Reigns heavily focused on bloodline-related drama. Whether it's Jey Uso, whether it's Jimmy Uso, whether it's Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns is kind of now moving away from that. He's once again the original tribal chief. The OTC defeated Solo Sikoa on Raw's premiere on Netflix on January 6th, won back the Ula Fala, and then we found out what's next for him is actually him revisiting his past when it comes to Seth Rollins, of course, teammates in the Shield, but also setting up a new feud with CM Punk. It looks like heading into WrestleMania, we're going to be having a triple threat match, considering that Roman Reigns, at the time of recording this video, just returned to WWE television on Monday Night Raw from Madison Square Garden, interrupting the steel cage main event between CM Punk and Seth Rollins, attacking Seth Rollins, actually inadvertently having him win the match by pulling him out of the cage, but attacking him, stomping him into the floor. But also, he then attacks CM Punk, and it looks like the seeds have been planted once again for that triple threat match at WrestleMania. So there's no real bloodline relation there, so maybe the OTC is kind of moving away from that. And if he is moving away from that, you wonder, post-WrestleMania, what will Roman Reigns be doing? Now, it is a difficult one with Reigns because, of course, he's not full-time. He has a limited schedule. Last year, we didn't see Roman Reigns after WrestleMania until SummerSlam, the main event. He showed up. He attacked Solo Sikoa. He was a babyface. With him being a babyface, could we see Roman Reigns face off against the heel Alistair Black? There have been reports that WWE intends to push Black as a strong main event single star. Certainly Roman Reigns, one of the biggest main event single stars in WWE for the past decade plus. In addition to that, Paul Heyman is very involved with creative when it comes to Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman was a big advocate for Alistair Black when Paul Heyman was the executive director of Monday Night Raw back in 2019. Black was featured quite heavily then, so maybe Paul Heyman could lobby for Roman Reigns to face off against Black when he's back in WWE. We'll watch that one, certainly with a lot of interest. What about Bron Breakker, the current WWE Intercontinental Champion at the time of recording this video? Bron Breakker, I talk about Roman Reigns there as maybe one of the current faces of WWE, maybe the face of WWE for the last 5 years. Now it's Cody Rhodes, but a lot of people think that Bron Breakker could be the next face of WWE. He could be the guy for the future, the son of Rick Steiner. And I suppose it depends what level that Alistair Black comes back in. Alistair Black, as I said, according to recent reports, the suggestion is that Black is going to be pushed as a main event level single star. Now, whether or not that actually means he's going to be competing for world championships, whether he's going to be competing for the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw or the undisputed WWE Championship on SmackDown, remains to be seen. If he does go over, let's say, to Monday Night Raw, if that does happen, maybe we see a situation where he's challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, the status of the Intercontinental Championship post-WrestleMania is yet to be known because we don't really know at the time of recording this video what Bron Breakker is going to be doing coming out of WrestleMania. He might not even be the Intercontinental Champion. It might be someone else. But certainly a good way to introduce Alistair Black back to TV could be a situation where he's going for Intercontinental Championship gold, a championship he's never held before during his time in WWE. In addition to that, it's very easy to work with Bron Breakker because he's not a babyface, but he's also not a heel. It depends who Bron Breakker is facing off against. If Bron Breakker is working with a heel, he's a babyface. If he's working with a babyface, then he's a heel. He's this interesting tweener character that's kind of just a badass. He'll kind of just beat people up, spear, and get his dogs barking, and that's really what Bron Breakker does. So it'd be very easy either way for Alistair Black to feud with him, whatever character he's portraying. And an Intercontinental Championship feud might be a perfect way to introduce the former NXT champion back to WWE television. Another possible opponent, Jacob Fatu. I think Jacob Fatu is one of those names that you just want to see everyone face off against. The Samoan Werewolf is one of the most impressive names currently on the WWE roster, and I talk about exciting future prospects. Jacob Fatu is one of them. There are so many names on the WWE roster that you want to see Jacob Fatu face off against in singles action, and there are so many that we still haven't seen him faced off against. He's been largely protected for the majority of his first year in WWE, and by protected I mean we haven't really seen him face off against many people in singles competition. There are still so many big feuds on the table. In fact, I could probably and will do a future video at some point listing all of the possible exciting feuds for Jacob Fatu in WWE, namely the likes of Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, and others. Randy Orton. It looks likely at the time of recording this video that he's probably going to face off against Solo Sikoa come at WrestleMania, and again, that's very exciting. He's actually right now embroiled in a feud with Braun Strowman, which has seen him decimate Strowman at Saturday night's main event, send him through the barricade, send him, been chokeslammed through tables and get straight back up. And because of that, Jacob Fatu does have this element of, I guess, supernaturalness to him, if that's even a proper word. And what I mean by that is I don't mean supernatural in the sense of The Undertaker and Kane or The Fiend Bray Wyatt, where they're shooting lightning out their hands and there's fires and there's mystical elements. What I mean is he's kind of got that Braun Strowman element to him whereby you can't keep him down. If he goes through tables, he gets back up. If he gets chokeslammed off a stage, he gets back up. If he breaks his foot, he gets back up. And that kind of could feature in to Aleister Black. Sometimes pro wrestling is so varied. Obviously, nowadays you'd like to see two people competing in a ring, having a wrestling contest. Some people really like the promo part of it. Some people do like the smoke and mirrors part of it. And people like to see Godzilla versus King Kong. They like to see two giant monsters going against each other. Now, Aleister Black isn't really a monster, but he's certainly mystical. And in the day and age of Marvel, the MCU, and the DCU being so popular with DC Comics and people wanting to see a bit of supernaturalness to pro wrestling, with the Wyatt Six currently being back on the roster, that could be an interesting one, with Jacob Fatu constantly getting up against a guy that again has this kind of supernatural element to him in Malachi Black, Alistair Black. Spraying the mist in his eyes and just wiping it out and it not having any impact on him could be a really interesting one. How do you kill a werewolf? Usually it's a silver bullet. Maybe it's an Aleister Black bullet that's the one that gets it done. I think that could be some really interesting stuff if they decide to go down that route. And finally, John Cena. Everyone wants to work with John Cena because they're not going to have the opportunity to work with him for much longer, of course. Cena is in his retirement year. At the end of this year, December 2025, John Cena will wrestle his final match as an active in-ring performer. Now, shockingly, at the time of recording this video, he's just turned heel. So there are so many interesting possibilities for the 16-time WWE World Champion as to who he could face off against, people he's faced off a million times before with, people that, he's faced off before, but he was a babyface, they were a heel. There's so many options, but also there are still names that people want to see that Cena has never faced off against before. A name could be Aleister Black. Now, I suppose right now, the idea of John Cena versus Malachi Black, with Black coming off the run he's had in AEW, maybe seems a little bit far-fetched, but as I said at the top of this video, Aleister Black, Malachi Black, whatever you want to call him, Tommy End, is a figure that is well liked by Triple H, that is well liked by people of influence in WWE like Paul Heyman. And if you're well liked enough, they might be looking to get you a bit of a rub on the way out. John Cena will be doing the favors for some people, even if he beats them. Just being in the ring with Cena, with the eyeballs that he is going to get in his limited time left as an active in-ring performer, could be massive for people and would be a massive moment. So who's to say that down the line, whether it is on an episode of Raw or an episode of SmackDown or at a lower key premium live event, we don't see John Cena versus Aleister Black again. Anything I think with John Cena right now is possible. There are so many different frame points and things people are considering for this heel Cena, who he's going to face off against, what he's going to do. Even Triple H is saying for the advert for the upcoming episode of Raw at the time of recording for Brussels, we don't know what a heel John Cena is going to do, and we don't. But also, I guess we don't know what Aleister Black is going to look like in WWE. Is he going to be a babyface? Is he going to be a heel? We just don't know. So I guess everything is possible. So there you go, guys. There are some possible opponents for Aleister Black now that he's on his way back to WWE. What are your thoughts on Aleister Black's impending WWE return? What are your thoughts on some of the possible opponents we've spoken about today? How likely are they? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Are there some names that I've missed? Are there some names that you disagree with, agree with? How do you perceive Aleister Black's WWE return happening? How would you book it? Let me know your thoughts, your reaction in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking that join button, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.